Good morning, everyone. We'll start in a few minutes. I just want more people to join in so we can begin, okay? Hello, everyone. So we're back for our 9th edition of the Net Plus Business Day Digital Transformation webinar. I don't know about you, but I am super excited for this one, and I hope that you are too, because it's going to be a very engaging session. First off, thank you all so much for taking the time and joining us yet again today. My name is Jared Lawal, the content curator with Net Plus, and as always, I'm honored to be your guide for the day. Thanks again to Business Day for always making this possible. Without them, honestly, this would be so much more difficult to execute. There's not much to say except this. Over the last 8 months, we focused all our resources through this webinar series to educate as many SMEs as we can on ways to use digital transformation to scale their businesses. Last month, we had an in-depth practical session with the tech experts that joined us here. This month, however, we have decided that you, the businesses, you, the entrepreneurs, are in control, and you get to ask our experts present anything and everything on growing your business and digital transformation, be it in ad tech, in payments, whatever the case may be, whatever it is you're curious about. I bet you these experts have the answer. For this session, we brought back some of our very favorites from the month series that we've had, and they were gracious enough to come here to share their knowledge with us today. First, we have someone who I completely admire, the delectable Mrs. Temitope Williams, founder, CEO, Matt Wayne. I'll forever be mesmerized by how she started her career and then switched to fashion design in midway. Guys, take it from me, her courage and her persistence is one of the most inspiring things that I have learned about this woman, and she definitely walks the walk. Thank you for being here, Ma.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the invitation.
Everyone. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet everyone. Thank you. Nice to be here again, and thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. Second, we have Chicoka Ahmadi. He's the COO of Terragon Group. He oversees the firm's Pan-African business operations, performance management, and strategic partnerships with direct responsibility for shaping and growing their omni-channel SME business offerings. Before Terragon, however, he worked with the digital risk assurance and cybersecurity team at PricewaterhouseCoopers for over a decade, and where he served leading brands across different business verticals. Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Thank you very much.
Next up is Blessing. Is Blessing with us? I don't think so. Okay, so Blessing Abeng is a branding and communications director. I'll reintroduce her once she's able to join us. But then we have Mr. Chibuke.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Blessing. I'm sorry. Hi. Okay, let me introduce you again. So Blessing Abeng, she's a branding and communications director. She has dedicated her career to helping brands identify and communicate a unique identity and tell better stories. She builds brand and communication strategies around tech products, services, growth, and sales to help brand communicate with their team, target audience partners, and investors. She is absolutely one of the most engaging people that I have been honored to interact with. And I'm just so grateful that you took the time to be here with us again, Blessing. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me in the world. I'm so glad to be here again, and I can't wait for all the impactful questions we're going to get, and I can't wait to answer everything we're going to say.
You're welcome. Then we have Mr. Chibuike Good News. He's the CEO of Duchess Edx Limited. Okay, quick confession on this one. I have disturbed this man very well. But he's a smart businessman, and through his company, he offers a variety of digital services from digital marketing to brand marketing to growth marketing Mr. Chibike, hi, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. You're
You're
welcome.
welcome, sir. Finally, Mr. Ikundayo Ayeni, VP Sales, Career Express, also another engaging speaker, Mr. Ayeni. He's the CEO of the Business Plus Agency, a digital transformation agency that provides and designs practical solutions that will deliver optimum value for business in Africa by presenting them with an extensive range of business solutions that adequately generate traction, interactions, and conversions for clients who make use of digital media. Mr. Ikundayo, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So you can see that, I mean, we have quite an impressive speakers today, as always, and I am certain that we are about to have the best, the grandest of times. Thank you all again for taking the time. So this is the plan, guys. You're aware that what each of these experts do, right? So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask them, just write them down in the chat room in this format: your name, the location, the name of your business, and then your question, and we'll be sure to answer them immediately. But while you do that, we already curated a few questions that we had, some of you had sent in before today. So we'll start with those. Please remember to keep your microphones on mute to help avoid any distractions so we can have a seamless session. Now, let's quickly get into, because I know there's a lot of questions that we already have lined up. I think I would start with this. And guys, remember that whatever direction and question I direct to whichever speaker, feel free to impute or give your comment or suggestion after the person has spoken. I always say it's a conversation. It doesn't have to be, one-sided or one person's opinion that leads that drives the entire conversation. So starting very quickly, I think I'll start with Ms. Temitope. So someone asked a question here. It said, how can local business owners create content that is internally appealing?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me again. So first things first, I need to understand what internally means.
Well, I think they want to know within themselves without having to hire external help, I guess. So maybe that's
okay, because I wasn't really sure what internal appealing meant. Maybe a digital marketer, maybe it's a word that's popular in digital marketing or something. But like I tell people, I'm a business owner who uses social media, and so I'm not like really techie with the names. However, how do I'll speak personally based on my experience. How do I create content? Now, the thing about content creation for me is I don't, when I personally work on my social media handles, right? A lot of the times I have a lot to say because it's coming from me. Some people who see me or who follow me on my personal handles know that I use social media to distress. So most of the time, what I'm thinking, I'm just typing. And one way or the other, if you have a passion for what exactly it is that you do, you just find yourself coming up with a lot of content. Now, I will not pretend that all the content is created by me. I do have a social media manager, or I did have a social media manager, but it was something along the lines of every single thing she had to put out, once she puts it out, if I see it, and, I tend to edit it as well. And so while she's putting out her scheduled content, because my market is more fashion entrepreneurs, and I can think of 1,000,001 things that, fashion entrepreneurs need. So it's something that we have already curated, but I always read it and I always edit and I always add to it or subtract from it or something. It all comes from within me. So I guess that is how I create my content, because somehow I've been able to address what people don't even know they have an issue with. Because I listen to the market, I have a lot of people contacting me about one thing or the other. So based on somebody's, input as well, somebody's question, I use that to also phrase a post with their permission. I hope I've answered the question.
Yeah, you sure did. So basically you're saying that always put in your person or your own personal take into whatever content you're putting out there, right?
Oh, of course, because if you read my content, I'm the person speaking, really. You can tell, I think people are familiar with the way I speak, so if I have some random person who writes, because the person also had to study me, which is why sometimes when she posts, I go back to edit a bit of what she has written because it doesn't sound like me. Because I know what I would write. People know my language. People know how I speak, So I would say whatever it is that you're writing, don't follow I see people selling social media content. I don't do that. Now, I don't know if the content is good, but I don't personally do that. Whatever you see is something that I have felt and something that I may have mentioned to the person or stuff. So always write what sounds like you so that it doesn't look staged or planned. Well, stage is the best word. You can't be somebody else. You can only be yourself.
Absolutely. I think that people would always relate or find a way to relate to content that is personal to someone else. I think it's important that you take that as a business owner. Does anyone have anything to add to what she said?
Yeah, Blessing here. I wanted to quickly add to that. I just hope there isn't like some noise interrupting because I'm trying to use my noise cancellation. Is it quiet? Does it sound noisy?
It's a bit noisy though, just a tad bit noisy.
Okay, I'm going to make a change. I change my environment. But just right before I do that, I wanted to try and answer the question. So I'll start first with what the first speaker said, which is she tries to create content that sounds like her. So I think I would say that I agree to a certain amount, but I would also suggest that as opposed to creating that content that sounds like you, create a brand persona for the brand. Let the brand have its voice. And that voice is either your voice or whatever persona you decide that the brand should have. Once that brand persona is clear, whether you're alive, you're not alive, you're present, you're not present, people can be trained to learn the voice of this brand persona. So if the brand persona, you kind of think about if this brand was a human being, what kind of human being would it be? What kind of vocabulary would we use? What kind of voice would we have? What personality, what tone, all of these things. Once you set that way ahead of time, which is a part of branding, you just sort of set that ahead of time. You don't even need to repeat it as often because it's like I just have to imagine that our brand is like Oprah Winfrey. How would Oprah Winfrey say happy birthday? Or our brand is like you. So how would you say happy birthday? Things like that. So that's super important. So like in creating content in general, one of the first things you want to do is have a goal. So like why exactly are you doing? What exactly are you trying to do and achieve with your content? What platforms are you on? And that's heavily based on your goals again, and that's on your target audience. So also understanding who is your target audience and where are they? How can I reach them? What do they need? What questions do they have? What kind of problems am I solving for them? How do they like content presented to them? It's like a good mix of you and then your audience, as always does in every single time, trying to figure out if my audience is extroverted and my brand is not really extroverted, how can I find a middle ground that helps both of us get the best of our goals? You know, always finding that balance. It's like maybe I don't like to do videos. Is there a way that I can do podcasts? Is there a way that I can do maybe illustration to sort of communicate the message that I want to communicate? Finding that middle ground and understanding what your goals are very, very important because your goals will determine the approach. The approach you use for an awareness content creation is very different from conversion type of content creation. And so what I always think when it comes to content creation is like using the AIDA funnel awareness. So your customer is either trying, like they're just discovering you or they're interested in your product or they're considering buying or they're buying or they're now advocating. And at these different times in their life, we need to create a different kind of content for them. So if I am trying to be aware about the brand, you want to answer questions about my problems because at that point, I'm going to be Googling my problems. I may not know the name of the brand, but I'll be Googling my problems. So for example, I know Matway does a lot of trainings for fashion illustration. So questions that I have at that time might be, how do I learn fashion illustration? Can I learn fashion illustration as a newbie? Questions like that. So if you're already creating content to answer that, chances I'm going to find you when I search for my problem. And so at the awareness phase, you want to create content that is answering problems that I have. At the point of interest, it means you have answered the question that I have, and I'm now interested in the brand, and I want to know, okay, who is Matway, or who is, I don't know the name of the person. Sorry, I'm using Matway as the example, but I'm trying to then figure out who is this person, who is Blessing, you know. And so when you're trying to figure out who Blessing is, at this point, I need to be telling you about me, the company, what we do, and how we do it, right? And then when you get to the consideration phase, this is the moment where you're considering, should I go with Blessing or should I go with someone else? Or should I go with Uche or should I go with somebody else? So at that point, I need to show you testimonials. I need to show you people who have used this and how they felt about it. I need to, because I'm now trying to convince you. I need to tell you how much time you're saving by going through me, how much money you're saving by going through this. I'm going to be thinking about possible doubts that you have and creating content that sort of combats those doubts. And then at the point where you're making a buyer's decision, I want to be able to show you how to buy, how to prepare for the class, how to do X, Y, Z. So I'm then showing you different things that are going to help your life in figuring out, the buying process of it. And then if you're now a buyer and you're part of our community and you're now an advocate, I'm supposed to create content that uplifts you. I'm supposed to even feature you, like user-generated content and things like that. So if you think about it from that perspective, it's often easier to put the thoughts together and then create content that actually speaks to your audience and not to your user. I hope it helps.
Well, it definitely helped me.
It was
It
helpful.
definitely helped me. And I love your ring, by the way. It's really nice.
Thank you.
I'm coming to pick it up for blessing. Anyway, moving right along. Mr. Aini, I think I'm going to direct this one to you. The person wants to know, what are some of the best ways to deal with customer queries online?
Hello?
Mr. Aini. Okay. Did you get the question?
No, I didn't get that question.
Oh, so the person wants to know, what are some of the best ways to deal with customer queries online?
Okay, so customer queries varies from different conversations to maybe they want to make inquiries about your business. They want to make inquiries in terms of maybe they want to just know. Sometimes they just want to make awareness. So in our own kind of business, we try to do the B2B, and then we have a part that does the B2G and then B2C. So when we're doing these designs, depending on the products to which we're working part-time, the channels those information come from determines the kind of person you're potentially dealing with. So if you're online and you get these queries from maybe somebody coming from LinkedIn, there's a bit of professionalism that is expected in terms of your feedback. When it comes through maybe an Instagram, they expect some instantaneous responses. If it's coming from Twitter, if it's coming from somebody who comes to fill your form, then there are different engagement there. Then if you're using the bots and those robots and the chatbots, that means the sequence had run out before it gets to you directly. So that means the person want to really know, and then maybe every other channels, maybe from emails and all of that. So how do you chunk that out? First, profiling of the customer, which has been said a few times in the earlier conversation. Now, is it the kind of customer that can engage or that understands my product, that wants to deal with me? Then you want to do a little research on that kind of customer. Some customers look very insignificant, but they can bring down your organization, especially when they come with a query in terms of complaint. When they come with, oh, something is wrong, we don't like this service, the quality of what you're doing. Don't be surprised, you will find yourself on the biggest news blogs in the next 1 or 2 hours, because they have that influence, they have that relationship to make that happen for your business and maybe kill you or make you popular overnight for a wrong service. So you want to handle them, a bit more in different categories. And some you may need to get on the phone, some you may quickly need to maybe get them to maybe talk to you. Some you may go as far as visiting. So I take a case study. We're dealing with the biggest juice company at the time. Obviously I don't mention the juice company, but we only have one juice company in Nigeria. And we're running all their campaigns across all the brands. And it happened that we noticed that when they make a pack of juice in Lagos, before you do transportation, you get to Kano, some will have been broken, some air have gone in there and all of that. After 2 weeks, somebody opens it and it's congealed. And then they come up with this video of, oh, be careful the kind of juice you drink and all of that. Now, that feedback goes viral. Everybody quickly start sharing, be careful what you drink, be careful what you drink. Because these things were packed in cartons. And the temperature, they've traveled all the distance. Now, when we get those feedback sometimes, how do we address them? Because we try to isolate those experiences and quickly attend to such customers. You look at the potential ability of that customer to post that on the social network and make it go viral, as against when we're dealing with maybe customers who are in service business, they didn't provide the good service as necessary. Maybe a logistics business, with everybody assumes that every logistics business would always give them some sort of problem. How many times have you found people call out DHL, FedEx, all of those guys? Because it seems like a general problem in that sector. But when we go into the dues system here, people look at it, no, it's so personal to them because everybody is consuming this thing and they make a lot of noise around it. We quickly isolate the problem and we solve it at that point. So different customers, different layers, different kind of engagement that you would have to, because like those ones that have the juice problem, we try as much as possible to send the representative to see them and explain that some of these things are not even the fault from the factory. They are faults during this course of transportation to you. So because there's a quality control, there's an assurance before these things left the factory, then it gets to you and it's damaged, and then you feel, oh, it's our responsibility. Yes, we know we take responsibility, but there is a journey in between. Then while on the other side, when it's a service business, that is, okay, or maybe you see the popular ads like you send a courier guy with your food and then the guy removes the meat before he gets to the customer. Those are that's level of problem. It's not the eatery that gave you the problem, is the logistics problem. So you get all those things. So you need to handle when it's a problem side. Then when it's a business prospect, you need to profile and know what to engage the customer with. And then you must have area of services and know what to upsell and all of that. Those are more advanced conversations. So let me be quick because I see there's a lot of questions and if we hear.
Mr. Annie, thank you so much for that. Does anyone want to add anything? I mean, Mr. Gore, I'm sure you deal with a lot of disgruntled customers on a daily. So, like, do you want to add something to that? Mr. Mitope.
The line went off. I didn't even know you were actually referring to me. Actually, to be honest, I don't deal with a lot of disgruntled customers because, yeah, because, I mean, I don't want to sound like, to be honest, my process is automated. If you go through the automation, you get whatever it is that you pay for immediately. You get. And I used to think that, oh, you know, I had to be on my phone all the time responding to messages and stuff. But I've come to realize that, look, there's an assumption we have as business people that we always have to be there real time responding and everything. As long as you have your auto reply that tells people that you're not around, I find personally that when I go, I'm talking to them, and when they know that it also, because a lot of the time they have seen me somewhere, and I'm running a Facebook ad at the moment, and that Facebook ad, I mean, people don't know me, but they have seen that I have responded to people. So even when they chat me up on WhatsApp, they know I will eventually respond to them, because even random interested that I see on that, you know, a lot of people ignore, I actually go and respond to it. People that say, oh, you are just a scam, I actually go and respond to them and say, how can you confirm that I'm a scam? Have you bought something from me before to confirm that I'm a scam? You understand? So even when people don't get their purchase immediately, they know I will eventually respond, because the ad that they stumbled upon, they saw me responding to the most mundane questions. You know, some people trying to mock me, or some people saying, I didn't get my book. And I will now go back to the chat to say, we have confirmed this and we have addressed this on WhatsApp. Please confirm that you have gotten the book now so that people know that I'm not a scam. You understand where I'm coming from? So I don't really get that many issues. I think the issues may be maybe with respect to physical trainings, but even then, they're not really that many, because I have people handling the issue right there and then. So, and thankfully, nobody has called me out. So, yeah, I guess I must be doing something right. Like I said, I'm just a business owner. I don't.
Yes, my own experience comes from the angle of, because I deal with array of customers, different sectors. So that's why that came in for me.
Hello, let me add to this. I think customer communication depends on the level of the business and what size of customers you deal with. If you have more of customers that you have to deal with on a personal basis, on a daily basis, and they're not huge, you can have that personal communication, but by the time the number of people you have to interact with, or they have to interact with your business, start increasing, then you know that it's not something that just one or two people can handle. Then you have to come in with automation, just like Kundaya said. You have to come in with automation, you have to come in with other channels, and there are quite stages. Now, the mostly personal stage is contact form. people say things, but after the contact form, the speed at which your representative reach out to that person is very key. I'll take example of Amazon. If you make inquiry on Amazon, it takes less than an hour for somebody to contact you. You know that Amazon deals with millions of people across the globe, but how do they build that scale to the point that when you make an inquiry, less than 1 hour, somebody is going to contact you? It's because they have ways of automating, they have ways of assessing what you're saying and then assigning it to the right person, and it still comes back to the level of customer service that you have built into the system. Now, for small businesses, customer service is as simple as your WhatsApp, is as simple as your social media handle. But I think the speed at which you respond to that is very key. But when you have started having a high number of customers, you should put in things like you said about the chatbot, where the chatbot pre-qualify who you will speak with. Then always have an FAQ. So FAQ kind of addresses some of the regular questions people will always ask you. Because if you are selling clothes or you're selling hair, for instance, a number of the questions people are going to ask is around price, size, and very few questions that you can automate into an FAQ, and then people can get their answers from them. Then if those things are not answered on the FAQ, then those people should move close to you, should now have interaction with a real person. And at that point, you see that the number has reduced. So if you had about 100 people start asking questions or go to the FAQ, you probably have only 10 people that will come to you because the other people already have their answers from the answers on the FAQ.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, go on, Mr.
I also have one last thing to add. I think most importantly, after being able to respond promptly, essentially listen to the customer, common complaints back to the products, and try to improve the products, improve the process, improve the way of doing business, so as to avoid repeat occurrences of these same complaints. Just so as to improve the overall customer experience for each of these customers. Thank you.
Thank you for that, sir. And the next question is actually for you. Well, I think somebody wants to know how important or why is SEO and SEM so important to the growth of their website or their business?
Okay. Interestingly, I had to deal with a similar problem for a client earlier this week. So we all know that Google search remains one of the first points of contact for any potential digital customer. So I want to hear about a new fashion brand. What do? I search Google. I want to learn about the new cool restaurant to go to. What do? I go to Google. And so brands are responding, right? Brands need to find ways to ensure that their products are put out there and are available to be viewed. So SEO is a more organic way of doing this. SEO stands for search engine optimization, like we all know, and it helps. And it's based on the design of the website, the structure, the keywords that are used to put it together, how the different links that come into that site. So developers and site and programmers have built sites to optimize and make sure that they pop up first in these organic search. However, there's also the option of having a paid model where you essentially promote your site and make sure it becomes one of the first businesses that's recommended by Google. I recommend both options for businesses because with that, you help to drive more leads, you help to generate more leads, and effectively helps to drive more signups, helps to drive customer retention, helps to overall improve customer value. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that, sir. Does anyone want to add something to that, or should we move right along?
I just wanted to quickly add that the key function of any SEO is just to improve discoverability. As I said earlier, people may not know the name of your business, but they know their problem. And what you want to try and do is ensure that when they Google their problem, you pop up as a solution. And the only way you can pop up as a solution is if you're using keywords that they would use when they're searching. And that's why vocabulary is super important when you are talking about the problem that you're facing, the vocabulary you're using is super, super important as well. So that's something that people should really, really think about when they're building their SEO strategy. It's like, what keywords do I want to rank for? What keywords do I want people to know me for? What are the things that I want people to, that when they search, I want to pop up for? And sometimes you can get this with ads, but it's even more probable and better. And people just trust you more when you're on the first page of Google, or at least the first 2 pages of Google. So you want to just sort of try and gun for that. And that's really why it's important. It's like nobody's going to come and ask you, oh, I'm looking for this person. It's like, I'm looking for this problem. I Googled it. Did you pop up? Yes. So I trust you because you're on the first page. I'll check it out. Did he answer my question? Yes. So maybe I should now try to know more about this person and what they've done. Something as simple as that. I think that's the easiest.
But why is that though? Why is it that we're all guilty of this? We all seem to just trust whatever is on the first page of Google, regardless of where it is. Is it that we don't have patience to look further, or
so many reasons actually. So first, as you said, patience is like, I'm looking for something and I've trusted, at least in my head, I trust that the machines that we put, because robots barely make mistakes, especially if they're doing what they've been programmed to do. So like the mistakes level are really tiny. So I'm trusting that they're looking for the best possible options for me and recommending what's special for me, giving me results. And if you really think about it, in all the times that you've Googled, chances are in the first 5 pages, you find the answer that you're looking for if you put in the right question or the right keywords. Most times you find your answer in the first 2 pages. So why should I be looking at page 10, page 1 and 2? So it's, yes, there's a patience thing, but there's also an efficiency thing. It's like, I also trust that Google has done their best to call the best results for me. And there's no need for me to find somebody who is on page 10, which means that person doesn't have credibility. People are not visiting their website. So there isn't even proof. That's what it means. It means like people aren't coming to your website. People don't know you. You probably are just one small person in the back of your house who thinks that, like, it's mental, or it doesn't mean it's true. It's just like mentally, that's how you feel. There's no way you Google and Google is on page 10. There's no way you Google Twitter and Twitter is on page 10. And you also want to ensure that as you build your SEO strategy, it's not only your website that is ranking forward, which is why things like press is important, because you wouldn't always have the most visited sites in your country. However, you can leverage platforms that already have high visit rates, especially within your industry, people already trust in your industry talking about you. That way, even if you are not page 1, someone talking about you is page 1. And so don't discount press. Press is not for proud people, which I've heard a lot. Press is not for proud people, please. Press is not for people that have money. Press is not for, like, I don't know how else to say this, but like, you're not proud if you're doing press, and it's not a thing of introverts, extroverts. If you're doing press and PR, if Business Day writes about you or something, a solution that you have created, people are more likely to trust you because Business Day said they should.
I think we lost her.
Yeah. I was really enjoying what she was saying.
Mr. Chiwike, this one I think I can ask you. In building a relationship with customers, where should a business draw the line between personal and business?
This is something
for serious.
Yeah, this is something that my team members bring to my notice almost on a daily basis. Now, you start talking with somebody and you are interacting with somebody, and then the person sees your picture, and then in the night the person starts calling you, "Hi, are you married?" You know.
Really? People do that?
You need to hear stuff. Persons that, are you married? Okay, can we hang out? Those kind of things, you know. It's unfortunate that females are most times at the receiving end of this. It's really bad. Like I always tell them that you have to be very formal in your communication with customers, and then you have to mind the words you speak. Now, we want it to be, when you're doing customer service, we want it to make the person feel at home. You want it to make the person feel comfortable to do business with you. You want to make the person tell you their mind, but you also know the words to use to achieve that. You know, both male and female. Now there are certain times when you start saying things and the customer start tilting towards another side that you don't want. Yeah, at that point you need to either you keep quiet or you close the discussion. or you tell them you're going to get another person. So a typical incident was one of my colleagues that was speaking to somebody, and the person wanted to ask her out, and along the line she said, okay, she'll get back to him. And when she told me that, I told somebody else to jump into the discussion. So at that point, don't isolate the discussion with the person. If you see that somebody has a tendency to change that conversation, don't isolate. Make sure that there's another person that is in that discussion. There's another person that is privy to whatever you are discussing. So it becomes quite a bit official. So in as much as you play with him, you cajole and just make him feel comfortable, but you should make sure that you're not the only one at that. And also people that do sales and marketing are also at the receiving end of this, where you go to market a customer or you go to discuss business with a customer. The customer is asking you to meet him at certain hours of the day, certain day. You need to put it clear that, look, this is business relationship. And sometimes that could be at the point of losing that business. But one thing that needs to be made clear is make sure that such meetings are not done by one person. And such discussions are not done by one person. In fact, we have an official line that is used for conversation with customers, even on WhatsApp. So you'll be chatting on WhatsApp, and if you're chatting with Choma today, tomorrow is going to be Promise, next tomorrow is going to be. So the same conversation you are having, another person will pick it up from there. So you need to let the customer know that, okay, this is a business discussion, this is a business line, and you need to draw the line at that. They mind the words you use, mind the tone and all that, but still, you should know when to say, no, this is not, you should know when the customer has gone beyond the means, and then you politely decline.
Yeah, people can be weirdly inappropriate sometimes, weirdly inappropriate. I think, like you said, it's up to you to remain professional, polite, and just get the job done.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to add something to that, or should we move on?
Well, yeah. So I was just thinking of it from a different perspective. So for purely digital businesses where there's little or no contact with the customer, the privacy question now becomes more of a customer issue at that point. Customers, they want to be understood, they want their issues to be taken care of, but they want it with limited interaction. So this speaks to the earlier question of how do you deal with customer issues and queries. So if possible, have a low touch approach. Try to have as minimal, so have everything available. Is it FAQs? Is it common questions that you need answered? Is it a chat bot that can help you answer quick questions before you go all the way to having a phone call being placed? Because a phone call can essentially make it a bit more personal. So how do we make sure as businesses that where we have digital first customers, we need to be able to provide as much information as possible to solve problems, to guide them through the customer journey before we need to start thinking about calling them. So this is from a privacy standpoint, and this is the flip of what Elia said on the other side. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chika, for that answer. Guys, remember that you can drop your questions in the chat box, and then I would pass that on to the experts. We have a few questions already here. So someone wants to know, and I think maybe I should direct this to Blessing, because that's kind of like her niche. Someone wants to know, as a new business owner, how do I make and maximize social media? Blessing, did you get that? You're on mute.
No, I missed the.
So the person wants to know, as a new business owner, how do they make and maximize social media?
Oh, okay. That's very easy. I think I sort of shared some tips on creating content. But for social media, I think the 4 things you want to quickly do when you come on social media is first, before even coming on social media, just sort of know yourself, know your brand. What is your brand about? What is the problem that you're solving? What is your personality? That personality thing is so important, because it's why people think that if you're an introvert, you can't engage on social social media, which is a lie, because you could be an amazing introvert who is giving us introverted experiences. Think about people like Sia. You know, Sia is a musician. We've barely ever seen her face, but we like her because she's giving us an experience, although as an introvert, but she's not a Rihanna. You get, so I'm using human beings so that you could see that it's possible, right? So you could also do that as a brand where you are introverted, but you create boutique experiences for a select group of people, and that's what makes you special. So you need to first know your goals, your personality, yourself, your identity, and what it is that you are coming to social media to accomplish. And then also know the kind of media that you're comfortable with. Start from where you're comfortable to where you're uncomfortable. So if you're not comfortable with video, try to, you know, leverage audio or other forms of social platform able to achieve it. Moving from there is know your customers. So don't just assume that you know your customers. Sometimes speak to them, ask them questions, talk to them, ask them what their problems are, and don't only ask them their problems in relation to your business, but just sort of understand them. Because if you're living in Lagos, one of the problems you probably would face is traffic. And so if traffic is my problem, is there something you're doing that solves my problem, but pays attention to the fact that traffic is my problem? For example, I remember that during COVID, Matt Wayne had an online class with Linkage, right, where they taught fashion illustration as opposed to the physical classes they would usually have. And that was because they're being sensitive to the times. So you also have to be sensitive to the times and figure out what times and seasons are my customers going through right now, and how can I create or adjust my solution to fit their lives. But coming back to social media, once you have a good understanding of yourself and your audience, it's now easier to create content for them, because the next thing you want to do is show your work. Showing your work is so important. People are always so shy about showing their work. And then people think that social media is a place you come to and show perfection. And it's not true, because even Kim Kardashian gives us imperfect vibes. Apple sometimes gives us imperfect vibes. It's like this thing we were building failed along the way. And so we decided to make it this other.
We've lost her again. So, I mean, sometimes your imperfections can become perfect to your audience members or to your target market, right? Mr. Kundayo, there's a question here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We lost you for a bit.
Oh, what's the last thing you heard? Did you hear
imperfections?
Oh yeah. So people don't care about you looking perfect all the time. They want to see that even through, I mean, think of any story that you like, think of every film that you have watched. It's like the superhero or the most important person in the film went through a couple of challenges and surmounted them, right? And so your ability to go through a couple of challenges and surmount it, though not like you're the person that has problem every time, or that's a very different vibe. But like sometimes you have problems, but then you show us how you solve that problem. And it's always better to tell us like after you're done or while you're going through it. It's like, oh, I'm going through this thing right now, and we lost. There was this guy, Knee Fries, me. His delivery person was making it difficult for him to meet deliveries and orders. And so one day he tweeted that, guys, we're going through this challenge right now. Our delivery people are messing us up, and we offended a client, you know, we're so sorry about that. So what we're going to do instead is give you all this, your order for free. Again, we're going to do it again, do it for free, and prove to you that we can do it. It's just that there was this.
Okay, she's gone again. Mr. Kundayo, this one is for you. How does one start a business?
I wanted to add something about that social media thing
Okay.
before you go to the next one. So social media for some people is their storefront, is the first point of contact. So you should treat it cautiously. And it's also your source for getting your early customers and some type of customers. Now, social media gives you an opportunity of branding. It also gives you an opportunity of messing up yourself. It also gives you an opportunity to communicate with people. Now, the way you maximize it is key, because your target audience or your customers come to social media for information. They also come to social media to have fun. They also come to social media to network and do businesses. So you should have a combination of fun should have a combination of being serious, you should have a combination of availability on social media. Now, being fun is certain times all your communication doesn't have to be all about business, business, business. You know, sometimes you could give people that impression that you have a human face, or you have that fun part of you. Like for us, certain times on Friday, we do TGIF and we put it on social media videos. You need to see the way people react to that, you know, kind of give them that sense of, that this thing we also do, these people also do that. Then the business part of it is showing your product on social media. That has to be quite professional. That has to be quite strategic and concerted, in the sense that you want to achieve an aim when you are communicating on social media for business. Now, the aim is to make people to get people attracted, and then to make them to take action. And at that point, your social media should be available on the social media. So if it's on Instagram, people are putting on chats. On Facebook, people are also putting on chats to what you post. You are able to respond to that, you know, because it's your first storefront or point of contact to them. Some people that visit social media may not even go to your website. They may not even go anywhere else apart from that place. So it should be available on there. Now, if you're using social media to sell your products, then that's when you come in. You have to promote. You have to advertise. Because I've seen somewhere that people feel that if you have a Instagram handle or you have a Facebook page, that's enough. No, you have to keep it alive. And there are people that will never discover you if you don't promote. And Facebook, which coincidentally on Instagram, I've also done an algorithm that is only very few people among your contacts that are going to see whatever you post until you promote it. So let's not write up the position of promotion on social media if you want to optimize that. Now, it will help you to attract people, it will help you to grow your likes, it will help you to grow followership, it will help you to even expand your scope of influence, so that whenever you post, you have more people doing that. Then your content should be warm and should be something that will make people always want to come back. That way, people want to see the next thing you're going to post on social media. Thank you.
Sorry, can I ask something? Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask, even though I'm on a panel, and this is to you based on what you just said. I have been on social media recently, and it seems that the people that are selling, and this is me looking at it from, from a global perspective, not just a Nigerian perspective, the people that seem to be selling are completely unprofessional. I mean, like sometimes you see them dancing. I mean, I cannot get TikTok. Like I have tried. But those are the people that are going viral. Or you see a picture of a dog, 5 million views, and you're like, how? So now what I'm even trying to understand and what I've come to realize is when you're even too professional, you lose people. That's what I think.
No. So what is actually happening? No, that's not what's happening. So what is that? Two things are happening that you are noticing. First, Instagram and social platforms in general are always bringing out new features, and that's even a big tip. Whenever there is a new feature, they're doing whatever they can to promote the use of that new feature. So if you're one of the people who jumps on using that new feature, chances are you're going to get discovered way faster. And Chicoka will not agree with me, but I don't subscribe to advertising before your first 1,000 followers, because you might attract people who are not necessarily your target audience, even if you do very targeted ads. So I always subscribe that you, for your first 1,000, try to build your first 1,000 followers organically.
The downsides of technology, no? Mr. Akira, you wanted to say something?
Technology says otherwise.
So anyway, let's move on. We've been on this for a minute. Mr. Akira, somebody directed this question to you, Jola Oluwa. The person says, how does one start a consulting business managing social media for small businesses?
Okay, interesting. I like that question because I kind of get it like here and there every day. So I've done this practice for about how many years now? About 13 years of practice consulting. I clearly said to myself, I don't want to become an influencer. So all the days when people were building followers, that was not the goal for me. I clearly also said that I don't want to play in the shallow water. So Before I go deeply into that, I just want to add to an earlier question where you talk about people crossing the line. I went somewhere in Abuja recently, and after I paid with my POS, the cards thing, and I saw somebody reached out to me on Facebook, and it was the waiter, the lady who attended to me, and she wanted something else because she picked my name from my card and she reached out to me. Maybe the guys in the house will help me understand where to draw the lines when you have to get to those situations. Because now it's not the business, it's the lady. Now, but going to the consulting thing, you must clearly understand that consulting means that you must be broad. So in my earlier days, I'd spent a lot of times over the period, I've done over 48 certifications so far. So I understand every aspect of digital marketing. And then one of the things that possibly will have answered most of the questions we've been having since is persuasive technology, understanding what persuasive technology is in itself. How come people have likes, they have all these organic things we discuss. So if you want to do some bit of research, you may want to go and study that so that you have some insight into how as a business. This morning I had a meeting with a client already, 8:30 meeting, and we were looking at how do we scale what they do. So for a small business, you want to go into consulting, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, do I want as a person, do I want to be perceived as an influencer? Because a lot of people start building the business around themselves. And that is why you see most of the people who do motivational speaking, all those people who come and say, I made 2 million naira just by selling this ebook online. You see that they've already capped their revenue. Somehow they're already telling you about revenue cap. Now, as a consultant, you are not allowed that luxury because that is not what will bring the customer to you. That will bring some kind of client that you start becoming a coach and all of that. Well, I'm not against that business sector. It's an industry on its own, but I'm just telling you as a consultant how you want to be perceived. So we talk about consulting in HR, we talk about workforce, we talk about Philips Consulting, KPMG and all of that. You will never see them come one day and say, we had this app, we have 10,000 downloads, thank God for 10,000 downloads. No, that's because you're building the business around yourself. So in consulting, you have to now start looking at how do I talk about my customer journey. So somebody comes with 2 different products. Let's say a real estate product, and somebody comes with a lifestyle product, maybe fashion product. Fashion products are instantly being purchased. Decision is being made in less than, what's my buyer's journey? Maybe 6 hours, maybe 2 hours, maybe 30 minutes. I feel like changing my shoes. We're selling shoes for these slippers for a particular brand in Lagos here for a while. And we noticed purchase was done between 11 and 3 o'clock largely during the day when people become uncomfortable with their shoes they've worn to work. And on Friday evenings and Saturday mornings were the purchase hours for slippers, fashion slippers. Meanwhile, when we're selling the drugs for back pain, we noticed at the time when purchase was done was at midnight, so anything from 11 to 4 a.m. That's when those people experience the back pain and they sell. Now, this information we all gather and then we use for sales. That's what, as a consultant, that's what you do. But when you come to being a normal digital marketer, you may not be too concerned about this data and how you interpret the data for different reasons. We're working for a soap company at the time, this bar soaps, I don't want to mention their name, they're very popular. And we had a lot of purchase in the middle belt. By the time we broke further, we noticed that in the middle belt, people were cutting those soap and they're using it for bait and tying it around their nets for fishes because of the oily content. So you want to interpret this data for your customer or your prospective customer and then help them make the right judgment call. So we'll rather make this like this morning when I was talking to them, let's go talk to Wimbys, let's talk to these guys, and these are the kind of places where we'll find our customers. And then we'll do an online program with them. We're able to do the Lashon model, which is like yoking. They have greater audience in terms of the female sector, and we are looking for women in that sector. So we'll do like a mutual yoke. We don't mind losing some money or paying them some money to get them on board to do that program with us. And then those are the kind of conversations you want to have as a consultant. It's totally different from when you see all these social media people who just come, I'll grow your like, I'll do this. Those are vanity metrics. So you also want to look at how does their product tie to revenue and also tie to the vision of the organization. So those are the metrics you're looking your line from as a consultant. So your lens or your view is totally different from when the person who comes and say, you know what, I'll manage your account, I'll post two content every day, I'll make sure people come, I'll do this. No, you don't do that as a social media consultant. It's social media managers or marketers that do all of that. So they are the ones checking out, today we had 20 likes, tomorrow we're going to have 30 comments and all of that. So as a consultant, you're looking at it from a more holistic perspective. When we put in this, what are we getting out? You're looking at revenue. You're looking at, okay, so today we're going to sell 10 shirts. And why did people make that decision? Why was this decision made at this time of the day? So you're able to interpret that data for your own client. Those are the kind of things that the consultants look at. So once you're able to build that kind of mindset, or you go work as an analyst in a consulting firm, when you come back into digital marketing, you're able to interpret it for the best use of purpose. That's what I would put that to be.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayin. That was very comprehensive and straightforward. Does anyone want to add something, or can I?
I actually have a question. So yeah, I do have a question. Sorry. Quick question to Mr. Ayeni. Is there a difference? Because from what you've said, it's like maybe I'm hearing something else, and I don't know, since the person who asked the question doesn't have the opportunity to ask. So are you saying that I need, or people, a consultant cannot do the same job as a social media manager or marketer?
So
because it sounds like you're saying there are two different job descriptions.
The consultant primarily is the one who sits down and look at the business from end to end and able to break it into smaller pebbles and do all of it. You can also still double as a role of a digital marketer if you have the time. But mostly it's like the difference between social media and digital marketing. Okay. So digital marketing is the broader space. It's where you talk about social media as a social part of the digital marketing space.
If I might just add, oh my God, I feel so bad that I keep getting cut off. Since I changed to this other venue where there is less noise, the network has been super shitty, and I'm so sorry about that.
There's an advert you need to respond to. One telco is doing one advert. I won't name them, but they're doing one advert. You need to address that.
Okay, so I wanted to just quickly add that first, Ekundayo, yes, I get what you're saying, but I think what you're mostly describing is more of a social media strategist than a consultant, because a consultant could either be a strategist or a manager or both. Just depends on what that consultant says their strength is as a social media person when they come on board. But yes, you're right that the strategist is different from a manager, but in Nigeria, most social media consultants have had to learn how to be both strategists and managers. Problem we have also is that a lot of managers don't have strategy experience. And so they come into your company expecting you to tell them what you want them to do for your social media platforms, as opposed to if they had some strategy experience, they'll be able to advise you on, this is who your audience is, this is what we're trying to achieve, these are the goals we need to set for the company, and this is how we're going to achieve those goals. Business owners also do not invest in social media strategies because they don't think that is important as well. So I think that there is all that extra drama happening as this is just to sort of answer to me. They're trying to hire. Sorry, was someone talking? Okay, so when you're trying to hire a social media consultant, what you want to find out is, do they have any strategy experience, or do you already have a social media strategy that a social media manager can act on? And as part of your social media strategy, which is again very different from communication strategy, because as a communications person, your job is a little bit more holistic than social media, and it means you're going to be doing way more than social media. You might have to dabble into PR, influencer marketing, I think.
Okay, I guess.
Mr. Chicoka, please send her the link to that ad. Guys, so she's basically just trying to tell us that there are different expectations from a lot of these roles, and as a business person you have to understand the differences and understand the value that each of these people or each of these roles would have on your business, and then decide what to do moving forward. There's a question here, and I think it's directed to everyone, but I think I want Mr. Chicoka to answer this. It says, what would you advise customers who have been scammed? I think it's two questions. Okay, what would you advise customers who have been scammed? And then what avenues are open to them to get their issues resolved so legitimate businesses do not suffer?
Yeah, very interesting.
Sorry, guys. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
I'm back. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was saying that when Total hires me as a social media person, they don't expect me to do social media.
Sorry, you're sideways. You're actually sideways.
Yeah, I was about to bend over.
That's why I was doing this.
But let me try to speak to the question of being scammed. So when you think about it, right?
Blessing, you know what? Let me just
look like we're adding more value.
Yeah. So can you guys
Sorry.
hear me? So Blessing, you're going in and out. So we move to the next.
So
Yeah.
I think you should just take some time to adjust your internet, and then we'll come back to what you were saying, okay? If you can hear us.
Okay, so
Just carry on.
Let me try to tackle this one. So I think when it comes to a customer being scammed, it depends on the industry, right? And I think the industry the segment determines how you respond to it. So I'll look at the example of, which I found quite interesting, the example of a food delivery that gets to you and some delivery guy takes your meat. So that was spot on, a scam. How do you solve problems like that? You need to improve your internal processes as a business. You need to figure out ways to make sure there's quality control. You need to make sure, even when things go wrong, you have a reactive way of trying to address it so that if that happens, obviously you end the contract with that logistics company and quickly move on to a new one. And then put in place a stronger process for due diligence before you take on any new vendor. But let's talk about other things like maybe a pure digital business. I put in my card, I make a payment to fund my wallet, and I don't get value. Some customers might consider that to be a scam. How do you promptly respond? First way is have a very quick response mechanism in-house that can quickly spot such problems, and then get engaged with this customer, try to reassure them, in some cases even offer incentives to get them back. This engagement helps make the customer feel like, okay, he's valued, he or she is valued, and of course, their issues are being of importance to the business. Now, it becomes more and more difficult as your business gets bigger. I mean, how do you ensure and enforce this level of control and quality across a larger business? So that's where some level of training comes in. Make sure you improve your processes, train your staff to be able to respond better, continuously do a check or like a look back on how you perform as a business in terms of quality and try to improve. If it means changing partners, if it means changing products and technology, do that to help to solve the problem. The second part of the question, I know first part was about scams. Second part was about about resolving them. So I think I kind of touched on that. You need to find ways within your business to resolve them. These days, some businesses are adopting, as you get bigger, either you get some kind of legal advice to help you know the best ways to respond to such issues so as not to expose yourself to any unforeseen obligation. So people are seeking legal advice to also support them in that process. Thank you.
Okay, can I quickly add to that, please? In some cases where money has exchanged hands, especially when, for example, you're trying to make a purchase maybe on Facebook or on Instagram, and there's an exchange of details, pictures, and all of that, and then you make a payment and your goods were never delivered. You can actually use the bank routes. That's another way you can recover your money. So you make a proper complaint to your bank with evidence of all your payments, your communication, in terms of email. So most banks have a fraud desk. So if you go into the bank and you ask for fraud desk, they would obviously give you their email. Do your complaint, send it to them. There's also one connected to the CBN, which you can also copy in the communication if you want your communication to work faster. Copy the CBN fraud desk too, and tell them the whole business history and attach certain pictures of maybe your chats or your communication with this person. Your bank will automatically reach out to the other bank if it's not the same bank. Either they freeze the account or there's something, or they put a lien on the account or something. and then they will do an investigation and see if truly what you've requested for, if you're the first complainant and all of that, and then your money will be reversed after a particular period. Then there are other kind of frauds that may possibly also happen, which people are susceptible to, which are things like they call you out of a WhatsApp group and tell you to send a text or something. And then when you send those texts, they take over your WhatsApp and then they use your WhatsApp number to commit certain fraud. Or they access your bank account to do certain things. Or maybe your phone is missing and then some sort of fraud happens through those means. Those are other grades of fraud. But depending on the kind of business, or this, I just want to talk about the bank part. So most people who you've transferred money to and you didn't get value back, you can quickly do that conversation with your bank just for the fraud.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Please remember that you can still drop your questions in the chat box and I would pass it on to the experts. We have another one here, Anonymous. He says, or she says, for someone who works as a digital marketer or social media manager for a business that has no financial commitment towards its digital space. I think maybe Ms. Ashirika should take this one. I mean, where the businesses don't provide enough funding for the digital marketer. Because to be honest, you can't run digital marketing without consistent ads and campaigns, especially for a business that is just growing. How else can you possibly convince recruiters that you can perform a good job as a digital manager? So basically, if a business doesn't want to pay the amount that you're asking for your services as a digital marketer, what else can you do to convince, the business that you can do a good job as a digital manager? I guess that's what they're saying. Mr. Chiwike, do you want to take that one?
You see, that's it depends on who you're speaking with. For a business that really wants to attract customers or really wants to grow, I think there's a cost to that. It's kind of misplacement for you to think you're going to run presence on social media without committing to it. No, you can do some free things on social media, more like creating content, and you can employ somebody that will do that for you. And do that totally free. Somebody said about that you can go up to your first 1,000 even without promoting. Yeah, that's fine, but that doesn't mean you're not gonna create content. If you're not creating the content yourself, then you're going to cost money to create it. So if somebody's hiring you to manage the social media for them, the person should have some budget to that. I don't think that's the right customer. Everybody doesn't have to be your customer, but your customer should be somebody who should be able to, commit something to it. And then they could come back when they're ready to do that. But we need to understand that if you're not creating the content on social media and you're hiring a consultant, consultants are not paid by the government. They're also business people themselves. So you should be able to pay them.
Can I
basically,
sorry,
go on,
I just wanted to address what he was saying, right? And this is me speaking from the perspective of someone who has worked with lots of digital marketers. You are coming to me because obviously my investing in something is because I want returns from my business, right? But you come and, you're not telling me what I'm going to gain from it. Most times, and that is why I am very disgruntled with digital marketers and social media managers. Do you understand? You're telling me that you're going to do advert. Okay, fine. I have a budget for an advert, right? And this is something I have done for years. So I'm speaking from my own personal pain points until I found my last social media manager. You're telling me you're going to get 1,000 likes. The question is, are these the right kind of likes that are beneficial for me? Because I do adverts on my own. Do you understand? So I can get likes if that is what you're promising me, but how is that going to translate into revenue for me? A lot of social media managers do not have, like what you said, something in terms of consulting to tell me, if you put this in, I'm not guaranteeing this, but you should see this. You're not doing that. You're just telling me you're going to do advert for me. How is that relevant to me? It's not relevant. So I'm not going to pay for that. Do you understand? I eventually had to go and pay a lot of money for a digital ad course. And based on that, I made, my revenue back in 3 days. That is someone who is telling me that if you do this, I guarantee that you might not make money in the early days, but at least you will start to see traction. A lot of social, I'm speaking to the person who is asking this question. Small business owners don't just want social media for the sake of it. I can post, I can decide not to post if I'm not spending money. But you need to be able to tell me that if I employ your services or if I use your services, you should be able to tell me that, okay, over a period of time, this will happen, your business will do this, the money might not come in, but eventually the money will come in. Don't worry, I'll handle it out. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. It goes beyond just, let me do ads for you. And I'm speaking.
You're perfectly right. You're perfectly right. So, social media consultants, I don't know how to put it because we don't do social media consulting on that. But I feel that there's what we call media plan. For you to engage a customer or for you to engage, no matter how small the business is, you should have a plan. That plan states what the person starts to gain.
They don't.
What he spends.
They don't.
So if they're not putting that,
You've been working with the wrong people then.
I tell you, I have so much because I know.
I said something about this earlier. And when I was looking about this, I said most people just show up and they're digital marketers. They don't look at.
Yes, somebody just because he can post on social media, just jump out and he's a consultant. So there are expectations and things that guide you on that.
We've been friends since 2013, and I've been looking at your brand and I've never really spoken to you. And most times people don't understand how this brand thing work, because every time you have to talk to a customer, I've always said it, don't show up and say we want to advertise. Many people have not learned the tactics around guerrilla marketing, and there is a digital way of doing guerrilla marketing. Even if you don't have a budget, do you have friends? Do you have backlinks? How did Patel become so popular and so powerful? He was using a lot of relationship. Udemy, when they started and they raised their $5 million at the first start, they never spent that money. They went to partner with the Financial Times or which of them, I think it was Washington Post or one of them. And all they requested for was that let's just have a link in your emails that you send out bulk every day. Let's just have a link for 1 year. And before the end of the first year, they had onboarded over 100,000 users. And then that was where they scaled from. Many people think social media is all about let's first put money on the table and let's scale from there. I started my business with just 1,500 people from my LinkedIn contacts. And from that email, we started growing. We went on MailChimp, and then we scaled and we have over 3 million users in our database. So many times people just show up and they think it's let's use money. From MailChimp at that particular time, you could send 2,000 for free, and that 2,000 free for 6 times, that gives you 12,000 credits in a month. From that particular email, we made over ₦1 million in our first 1 month of running that particular business. So most times it's your ability to see beyond what you're doing at this time and see that, okay, I have a gold mine and I can scale it at this level. And when you're approaching a business as a digital marketer, don't make vanity promises. Number of likes, number of shares, number of comments, those are vanity metrics. Don't ever go after them. Go after the numbers, because that's what the decision maker wants to know. How many customers can I bring on board? If I can't close that transaction, I will also tell you, I can give you leads. You will now be responsible for closing it.
Thank you. Tell me something I can work with. That's the whole point. Tell me something I can work with. So I hope the person who asked that question understands how to now approach somebody, when, they want to actually get the small businesses. Because if you tell me I'm going to make this money, I'm going to find the money one way, even if it's to take a loan, because you've told me that there is a strategy, not just vanity metrics like you put it. So the person should, have that in mind.
Yeah, I agree with all of
but
what
I think
that blessing needs to be here.
Need to look at something when you are engaging somebody on social media. Sorry to say, this is sorry with those that are going into consulting quite some time. People should have a pedigree, right? People should have case studies of what they've done. People should have a history of people they have worked with. So when you are engaging and you are quite conscious of your budget, you should check the background of the consultant that you are engaging. When somebody jumps out of the blues because he knows how to post on social media, that's basic. Person should be able to put you through a strategy, a plan, and an execution time. And if the person doesn't have a history, then can start spending small if you must do business with the person. You don't just put all your money onto somebody that came with a sweet mouth and Most times you get to keep your fingers burnt.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I was
maybe
about to.
the social media
I wanted
person.
to add.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to say something, but I wanted to address what he said, but let me leave that till you're done.
Okay, so I just quickly wanted to say first that we need to consider two things. Number one is the fact that a lot of Nigerian business owners are not willing to pay more than 50,000 naira for a social media manager, for example, and you're not going to get an experienced social media person. To be honest, not everybody. So I don't like that we're using digital marketer and on social media manager interchangeably, because it's not even supposed to be interchangeable. There are digital marketers who do digital advertising, digital management, and things like media plans. And then there are social media managers, people who have history of
She's gone again, but I actually do agree with her. There's a lot of people that come up, like Mr. Chicoka said, that come up and just, claim that they know how to do this thing, that they know how to run your social media, they know how to handle your. Oh God. Bless me, keep going in and out. If you can hear us. Anyway, so Ms. Temitope, as a business owner, and to all the businesses that are present, you have to be very deliberate about how you ask whoever is pitching to you
get you your growth that you need. Multinational.
To show you results.
So to be honest, they know. It's not like they don't know. They know. It's just
blessing, we lost you half the time actually, so we don't even know where you are.
Oh my God. Oh no, I was just saying. Gone. I think what I was just saying. Let me see. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, we can.
I think just to summarize what I was saying is that depending on the level of experience that you require, and depending on the level that you are in business, you will need a different type of social media manager. So for some people, it's like they're very keen on what they want to post. It's like, we already have pictures, we already have videos, just come and post it and write captions, which are literally copywriters. So that person is just the copywriter who is posting. But for some people, it's like, we don't have the budget, but we know you're skilled at using organic methods to grow platforms. What we want is engagement, not sales, engagement. And so they can leverage their strategies to show and help you gain engagement. There's some people who are better at coming up with strategies for engagement. There's some who are really, really good at coming up with conversion strategies. So depending on what your needs are, I think you should always hire to the strengths of the kind of social media manager that you are hiring. So you always have to just sort of ask yourself, what do I want to get out of my social media manager? Do I want to push sales? Or do I want to push engagement? Or do I want to push awareness? And sometimes it's not that the social media people are bad. It's just that they are chasing after goals that are not in line with your goals. Sometimes I've seen people who would just be doing awareness type of strategies. And I'm looking for sales. So why are you doing awareness strategies for me? It makes everybody's annoyed because we didn't have the conversation about what was important to me. And somehow I did not ask the question, not Michelle, because I always ask the right questions. But a lot of people don't ask the questions they need to ask from their target audience or from their customers to understand what their goals are. I don't know if you get that. So I think in future, when you're sort of hiring any consultant or anybody, just sort of be clear. First, be clear about your budget upfront, because it's not the social media manager's role primarily to do sales for you. But if you want a social media manager that can get you sales, you need to hire somebody who has that proficiency. And if you want a social media manager that can get you engagement or awareness, you need to hire somebody who has that proficiency. If it's even influencer marketing, that has even become its own skill set. If you want somebody who can manage your influencers, and things like that, you need to find somebody who has experience doing that. So I don't know if this helps you take it up, but like in the future, whoever asks the question is like, just find somebody who can do what you need them to do based on the goals that you have. There are people who are very skilled at it. Me, I'm an all-rounder, so I can really speak to any part, but it took a lot of years of experience to become good at what I'm doing. Do you get? And I would never collect 50K or 200K or 400K or even 500K to do such work. Do you get?
Yeah.
So people who can do it are more expensive.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, sorry, can I just say this quickly and then I'll just let you talk. The truth is, the social media manager that I worked for the last maybe 2-3 years and everything, I've never seen her before. I still don't know what she looks like, except maybe when we now started following each other on. How did I start using her? I saw one of her videos. I didn't even know, it just came up on, I think it was an ad, it was a sponsored ad. I saw it, clicked on it, I was like, okay, interesting. Had a conversation with her. The thing is, I know what I want. And I think a lot of people are a bit intimidated by the fact that they are meeting a business owner that knows what they want. But the minute I spoke, she understood exactly what I wanted. And that was it. And we worked for 3 years together. I have not, she's in Ibadan somewhere. I don't even know who she is. And I've only spoken to her a maximum of 10 times in my entire life. When somebody knows their stuff, you don't need to say too much. That is what a social media manager needs to do. If you're going to market yourself, I will tell you what, because obviously, and why did I approach her? If her advert could get me to pay her, then she should be able to do an advert that will get people to pay me. That was my thinking. And it paid off. And I don't know what she looks like.
And that could probably have backfired as well, because the people who are great social media, the people who are great social media managers for fashion brands and stock for like consumer FMCGs. So you really, I think this, yes, so you really have to be very specific. It's like, even if I did some great work for Paystack, it doesn't mean I'll do great work for you as a fashion brand. So you need to find people who are in your line of business, or people who understand your line of business to be able to give you quality work, or people who are willing to learn what is happening in your industry. And that takes a level of experience as well. So I'm not doubting you. I'm not saying that there aren't shitty social media managers, but I'm also just sort of pointing out more and more factors that could possibly influence the kind of person that you hire. And even that person who seems good to you might not seem good to another person. So you always have to hire based on your preferences, your needs, and your goals. And just sort of having those things set out really clear up front helps you in making your hiring decision. Do you get what I mean? I'm not saying that you're wrong or right. Yeah, I'm just trying to provide extra context and factors.
Yeah, of course, I
completely
get that.
A question I think every business owner should ask, or maybe every digital marketer should ask. Let me just give you from that angle. So there's this line I always ask my clients: what does success look like to you?
To you, oh my God, yeah.
If you are not able to answer
now.
that,
What do you mean?
what does success look like to you?
It's to make sales and to be big and to be known.
So now you already
Not necessarily.
you're talking sales as your first line.
You said to me, I'm telling you what success looks like.
So many
Sorry about that.
Until they can answer that question, don't take up the grant, because most people don't know what they want. So if you ask that question, then they will tell you what they want, and then you're able to build your strategy around that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that most people don't know what they want. I would even say that they probably know what they want, but they don't know how to articulate it. But it also is your responsibility to ask the questions that will help them articulate those things that it is that they want.
Yeah. Mr. Chika, you've been quiet too.
I've been listening to a lot of things, and I think a few things stick out, because I've also been on both sides. I've been on pure consulting as well. So I think effectively understanding your customer's business is very critical. Understanding what success means to them, understanding their business model. So you can't help a customer when you don't even know how they make money, and you don't know what's important to them. So for instance, you can't come and tell them that you want to help drive likes when I want to drive new registrations or new deposits. I want to drive customer accounts to be open. So there needs to be that understanding. So something we've done in Terragon, we try to put our teams in different verticals. So we have people that understand e-commerce businesses. We have people that understand financial services businesses. We have people that understand even how to help people like manufacturers, people that have quick service restaurants. So that way, over time, we build expertise and skill sets in being able to serve them, help them meet their goals, help them grow their customer value, and ultimately help them get the right return on investment on their marketing spend. So that's just my my 2 cents on the entire conversation.
Yeah, that's an amazing insight, actually. And I think just to sort of add a last thought to that.
And she's gone. There's not much time left. There's still so many questions, but I think this was very engaging, and we need to.
Please, one last comment before that. Sorry. We need to gauge our expectations when we're doing things on social media. Now, you see a pay stack spending money on social media. If they tell you how much they're spending on social media, I'm sure a lot of small businesses will run away. So we need to understand what we want, just like they've said, and then we need to understand what's going to get that for us. We've seen a number of customers, and when they come, you ask them, okay, what do you want to get? They say they want all the customers in the world, all the customers. In fact, everybody wants all the customers. But do you know what it takes to get all the customers?
Do
you know how much it costs some of those businesses? You see an e-commerce shop spending a lot of money. You see you see them all over the social media. You see their social media doing fantastically well. Do you know how much they spend on that? Of course, there are hacks. You can actually hack some of those things if you have the capacity to do. But if you don't have the capacity to do, you probably have to spend the money. So I'm not advocating that small business, that the thing is not affordable for small businesses. No. What I'm saying is that start with what your budget can afford. And if you're hiring somebody to do that for you, just be realistic that, look, this thing costs money and it's not free. So if you want to maximize or optimize your budget, fine. But the deeper you pinch on your budget, it starts pinching on your performance. And you have to be realistic in that. Now, 50K can get you a few customers, but you don't think you're going to get 1,000 customers with 50K. But that's perfectly impossible. So when you
can get 1,000 customers with 50K. Okay, depending on how you use it, it might just not be for ads. You might use it for influencer marketing and pay somebody like, okay, so for Matway's business, I keep using her business because I know it. So for her business, for example, she could pay 50K to this thing called Fashion, who is an influencer with over 50,000 followers who used to accept 50K as her last 2 months. I don't think she accepts that anymore. But when she was accepting 50K, she would have been able to get you 1,000 customers because most of the people who follow her have access to.
Please say who the person is.
Oh my God.
No, I will tell you. This thing called Fashion.
Let's meet in camera, please. I will email you after.
So
even me, I'm interested in knowing the person.
So this takes us back to that thing of, if you don't have money, you just really have to be creative and find ways to build relationships and networks that would get you the access that you need. So for example, there was one time we were running a scholarship and we thought we wanted to give 50,000 people a scholarship within 1 year. And then we didn't have a budget. We didn't have like ₦1, but somehow we're able to leverage personal relationships and we got people to share about it. At the end of the day, we're able to hit the 50,000 mark without spending ₦1 on ads. We got 50,000 people to register. Another time that we've achieved, hello guys, can you hear me? Okay, see, another time that we've achieved such great success was, I was managing a brand, I was CMO for a brand that recently just got acquired, a tech brand, and we didn't have ₦1. We never spent money on ads, not one day, but we're able to get over 20,000 customers across the world by using creative strategies. What we did was we leveraged other kinds of ideas, things like, oh, we wanted to train, we're going to train trainers and creators, people who would use our product to make money. And so those people went on to use. You guys cannot hear me anymore.
No, come and work for me. That's the bottom line.
We can hear you.
Guys, you can avoid me. It's not easy.
Trust me, my ear, my antenna is even looking for the thing that has gone off. So don't worry, we can decipher what you're saying.
I can completely share. Yeah, I can completely share. I have a book, I have an ebook, I have 2 ebooks that I've written, and I even have a workbook that I've created to help small businesses navigate things like this. So I'm happy to share that with NetPlus team so I can share it across different people. But what I've just been trying to hammer on is different goals would require different strategies and different budgets depending on who you're talking to. And when you have a good understanding of what you're willing to do, so if you're a social media person or a digital marketer who has said, I'm going to work for small businesses who have X amount of budget, let that be your selling point. If it's that you're never going to work with people like that, know them when they come to you, run away. You're like, no, sorry, I'm not for you, and you bound. Or if you want to be the kind of person who spends like high money on marketing and ads, be that person and just sort of recognize your audience. But also make it very clear to your customer that if you want sales may not look like likes. So we may not hit 100 likes, but we'll be making sales of 10 every single,
So I have a reservation about certain things. So maybe understanding products. For example, we're supposed to drive download for a particular app at the time. And we had, this app was a digital addressing system. Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Be pressing my neck for likes. So if as a customer is not like, sometimes engagement is not follow up. I hope that sort of settles the show. Where I said that something will not be equal to engagement. And so if we all have the understanding of what exactly our goals are, and you are getting 15 likes, but we're making sales of at least 10 every single day, we know where we are standing. We know exactly what is bringing us our sales. And nobody's shouting on anybody that, oh, why are we having 15 likes? Because we know that that's not our goal, right? And so just like that balance is important.
Okay, so I just want to quickly add that there was a time we're supposed to drive some download for a particular app, and the app was a digital addressing system. This is what was in quotes competing with likes of Google Map and all of that. And the downloads were not as fantastic as we wanted it. So we moved, you had another product from the same client, which was supposed to do something like maybe Viscate or something were in that space. Now we had those downloads, but engagement on the app was low. Then we got the third product from the same guy who was a dating app. In less than 3 weeks, we had over 8,000 downloads of that app, and we had close to 50 million in revenue, which means people were registering and trying to get to the higher version of the app. Because of his first two experiences, he wasn't too ready for the size of engagement he had on the app. And we started asking ourselves questions. So why did the first one not get the kind of traction or attention we're looking for? The second one also didn't get the attention. But when it came in, when we started driving the dating app, we got so much of attention than what we all, were emphasizing. So we noticed that the kind of things that sell are the things that are in quotes stupid. The kind of things that you may assume because so there's none of us now that will go and do will be that fine girl now and be doing divalabala on the screen. None of us. Now
that's dating. Dating is big everywhere.
Yeah.
Dating is big everywhere.
Exactly. So people with professionalism that doesn't help us make money on the social channel because you want to be very professional, you want to speak a particular language, you want to be seen as corporate. Meanwhile, the platforms you're selling on, you're not selling on LinkedIn, you're selling on a TikTok, and what is selling is that particular thing. So I want us to also look at when you're selling your product, when you're bringing out your product, you should also put some underlying conversations that will make you understand that the people who engage and buy this product or make your video go viral possibly want to see a bit of lifestyle, a bit of fun, a bit of that hype man conversation. So those are the kind of things I think we should also look at. Even if you don't have the big money, some of the things that can help you go viral, leverage on it, and you would possibly, scale.
Thank you so much for that, Ekwindaya. I think this thing you just said was going to help me answer the question that I was trying to answer to Temitope before I went off, where I was trying to say that you need to leverage trends, but you need to find your brand personality to leverage the trends right. So yes, Shidi Balabala is trending right now, but there are other things that are trending. I know we cannot come and be like Smoyash the Shape and stuff like that, but there are other things that are trending, and you need to find out of these 10 things that are trending, which one can I leverage? CLB album was trending, the Drake picture where like there were 12 girls who looked pregnant, and different people adapted that differently. So you too can find ways that you could adapt it. Like, for example, you don't have to use Shidi Balabala. Maybe you could use, there's another music sound that is trending on Reels where they do 27 pictures, and you can show 27 pictures of you at different places. Can you leverage people? Some people are too busy posting graphics for an audience, and people don't want to just see graphics. We want to see people. So use your people, use your users to do reels, use your team members to do reels, pick trending sounds of reels and make it interesting. Use very nice locations, use very nice sound, use very nice colors, make it more interesting. Figure out how can we make our own difference. Breakfast challenge is trending right now. The one where people there's a breakfast challenge reel. You don't have to come and do the exact, what's it called? You don't have to do the exact signs, but you could do breakfast challenge and use it to teach us tips. Let me give you.
Okay.
Blessed, I think we lost you again.
Yeah. Look, guys, I mean, this is I don't want this to end, but like I promised everyone 1 hour, 30 minutes, and it's way past time. So let's just try and do our final words and wrap this up. Second, I think there's one question here for you. The person says, how have you been able to grow Career Express from ground zero and keep getting top performance, considering the fact that digital talents are scarce and expensive in this part of the world? I don't think that digital talents are scarce, and I think that they actually charge less here than they do outside of the country. But that's just me. What's your answer to it?
Oh my God. Jesus, tell me you guys lost me since.
We did, actually.
What was the last thing you heard? Oh my God, this is so sad. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me just round up so you can ask your next question. I'm sorry. But I think what I was just saying was that.
Let's see. Anyway, let me.
I'm so tired.
You need to buy one particular product.
I already have one and it's in my house, but the particular one I'm using now is my mobile. I don't want to say what I'm using, but I use that in my house and it would have been stable, but I'm not in my house right now. I've had to be hopping from meetings. So I'm having to rely on one crazy brand, and I'm not going to call their name either.
Don't give them publicity. No.
Exactly. Anyway, but what I was trying to say was that one of the trending reels that was, I don't know if you guys remember, Dinola used it, the one where people were changing their clothes a lot. And it was a lot of fashion influencers using it at the time. So I asked myself, how can I use this and teach people about branding or communications? And I used it to talk about rebranding. And rebranding means like moving from one thing to the other. So I taught people three times you need to rebrand. And I changed clothes too. In the whole using the reel and changing clothes and sharing my tips and tricks, I ended up getting 150,000 views on a post, and I got over 8,000 likes, right? And so that was me using a trend to still teach the things that are in line with my brand personality and messaging. So you can still leverage trends without looking stupid, without doing things the way people are doing them, but sharing your message. And you don't have to jump on every trend. You can just pick the trend that still keeps you respectable and helps you push your message, but you still look fun and interesting. Always just ask yourself, what is a creative way? People are doing Peru Para right now. Peru Para is just, I'm changing from this to that. I'm changing from something that was ugly to this thing that is beautiful. So how can you take an illustration that somebody did, take it from sketch to colored painted design, or somebody did the first sketch versus their last sketch, things like that. Those are interesting ways to leverage what's called trendy things without losing your professionalism, but still leveraging the vibe and the quality it gets you. Also just partnerships. I see that people don't partner enough. And it's like we're always doing things on our own. We're not partnering with people, and they don't always have to be in your industry. Come up with creative ways to partner. Partnerships always give largest numbers with little effort. So I hope this helps you guys before I get cut off again.
Yeah, it does. It does. But very quickly, Mr. Ayeni, can you answer the question that was directed at you?
Okay. How did we go? So just to put in perspective, we were running a digital agency for a while. And after we noticed a lot of brands were not working with just agencies again. They wanted to hire in-house talent and all of that. And I remember in my early days, I went to do a presentation in Sura. And while I was in between, I was explaining email marketing, and the man got up and was very angry and said, "I've caught you, Yahoo boy," that kind of thing. And he chased me out of his office with my guys. And he felt we're stealing people's email, we're doing all of that. That was a fraud. He didn't understand the concept behind email marketing, maybe the way we presented it to him. Now, noticing that over the period, people started looking for talents they are willing to work with, talents they want to hire. I was in the US and I got stranded at the time because my Nigerian cards were not working there, and I had money in Nigeria. So until I called the bank, they would tell me to use my card. Immediately I withdraw money, I can't use the card again. So I decided to throw up some ideas, got churches around me, one or two of them gave me some gig for $500, loaded the money on Amazon cards. And before you know what's happening, we did the job in Africa. And then because I wasn't equipped to do some of those kind of level of job, graphics and all of that, and it was delivered. So we came up with that whole idea of saying that, okay, we can take job from another side of the world and Nigerians will do the job. So we pay them in Naira while we get the dollar on the other side of the world. And that was how Career Express started, and we scaled it. And then we now got some more funding. We do training, we train people to become very equipped. And once you're equipped for that whole stuff, we match it to employers. So we have a lot of employers in town today who have our staff in residence with them. So we also vet, we also check. Now, when we say talent is common, they are not scarce and all of that. Competence is different from availability. So there are a lot of people who are competent out there, and there are a lot of people who are just popular. So when I work with influencers sometimes and you see them come back with some things, you see typographical error and all of that, and the guy is telling you is an influencer, he can write very well, or he knows how to do copy. These are things you struggle with, especially when you deal with certain kind of brands. I don't deal with brands, especially that B2B space. They don't take some things for granted. So getting those talents became an issue. So we keep recruiting like every day. Every day we have interviews, people come in, we have conversations with them, we test you out. Somebody will say, I'm a graphic artist, I'm very good. Then you see that it's using Canva, and your client's demand is higher than the use of Canva. If somebody say, I'm a video editor, and then when they come to you, they can only edit with certain kind of low-end tools. So we had to start upskilling people deliberately and trying to match them to the best opportunities they can access, both within and outside the country. So that made it very easy for us to scale. And today I sit on sales. I'm not the CEO. So all I do every day is to look for new customers and new leads, and then see how I can convert them for the business. So it's just that same angle to the whole conversation. So that's how Career Express started in simple terms. Had that problem of not being able to pay my bills. I was in the US, and I got money just by sending those work to Africa, and people did it in Nigeria and sent it back to me. The client was happy. They're still on our retainer till now, and they are paying us monthly whilst we move on to the other side of things. And then also there's a line of business that we strongly believe in, which is the recurring revenue model. We don't believe in one-off business so much, because doing business with you, that's not sufficient for us. Once we rather eat our meat gradually. So that means that every month we're getting a particular part of the whole revenue that you generate monthly, and we can scale with you that way, rather than come with a bill of 10 million naira and say, if you don't run this ad with us in the next 2 days or in the next 3 months, and walk away. That's why I like what Terragon does a lot and all of that. We've been following them in some way, maybe in the shadow, because of those kind of stuff. You see people who do programmatic advertising to does the same model. So they have a budget that you're spending gradually with them for over a period, not knowing that they are getting so much revenue from you, but it's a business model. That's what we infused into Career Express. So I think that summarizes it all.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So I think I want to continue so bad, like I'm enjoying this, but we have to stop at this point. Mr. Chuka, any final words to businesses that are looking to adopt digital offerings and digital solutions into their business model? Let's just go around and say our final words to everyone and to the businesses that are present here today.
Yeah, I mean, one final word from me is I think businesses need to start thinking, one, how do we adopt very data-driven approaches to marketing? And we talked about that extensively here as well. Then two, how do we explore omni-channel options? So today we've spoken more about social media, engaging through WhatsApp, but there's also the big opportunity about engaging through offline channels. Today, quite a number of Nigerians today can be reached faster via SMS or USSD type products. So something we've done at Terragon as well is we've tried to make a combined offering to help businesses reach these two categories, these two channels through one single platform. So there's more about that on our website as well. And then of course, most importantly, measuring success is very critical. We need to continue to measure how well the marketing effort is resulting in business outcomes. We talked about sign-ups, talked about deposits, talked about ultimately customer value. So I want us to have, I want the audience to have all that in mind as they make their decision around marketing spend and marketing investments. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Chibiki, do you want to go? Final words? You're on mute, sir.
Yes.
Muted, sir.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, so thank you for this opportunity. One thing I'll say to businesses is marketing is something you're going to do for the rest of the life of the business. Even when you are not in business, you still do marketing in any way. And it's something that it has to be deliberate and concerted, and you have to have an expectation to it. Now, for younger businesses, marketing seems opaque because you don't really get to, there's this fear of what am I getting, just as Temi has said, that what am I getting if I spend this amount of money, what is it going to get to me? And that is where Duchess has come in. So we started as a programmatic company, and then we realized that businesses want action, businesses want conversion, and also businesses want to retain their customers. And then we also built a messaging that includes both chatbots, SMS, and other forms of marketing. And this year, we realized one thing, that smaller businesses have these challenges around funding their marketing, because they have limited resources and they have to channel that to a number of factors and a number of challenges, from equipment to staffing to other logistics. So recently we partnered with a financial provider that we're going to be giving marketing credit to small businesses. Now, this allows them to run their marketing campaigns and then pay over time. Before now, banks will never give you money for marketing. They won't. Even the developing financial institution won't give you money for marketing. So we saw that as a need, and we created a product that give you that marketing credit, so you can use it across different marketing goals and then achieve your end. You can take your time. So when people start paying you, so you use that money to pay back for the marketing that you have done.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Blessing, final words.
Okay, so I would just say thank you first for bringing me here and enjoying my internet. But like as final word, first, please try your best to know yourself, know your goals, know your brand, build a brand. Your brand shouldn't be an afterthought. It shouldn't be something you just think is logo, font, it's way more than that. So do your research on what your brand is. I'm also going to, as part of my final words, I'll just share that social media ebook I told you about. It's free, and I'll share it with you, so you can share it with everybody else, hopefully. And please, if you have any questions, just DM me. I'm very responsive via Instagram. So DM me at blessing@bang_, and I'll answer any questions that you have and be here to help you. But please know your goals. Don't copy everybody else. I just understand that there needs to be a level of consistency. If you choose to do something, decide. If you choose that you're going to do something, decide to do it and create a structure around it so that you can keep your promise to your clients, keep your promise to yourself, and keep your promise to your users. So thank you very much, guys, and I wish you good luck, and I hope that you get successful in whatever it is that you're building.
Thank you to Blessing. Mr. Kudai, final words.
Okay. I will say thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. It's an opportunity to be on board, especially with this set of great panelists. I've had some things that shook my mind. I've also learned a lot in the conversation. I will also tell everyone who's in the audience, it's only action that converts. And at the end of this conversation, let it not be one of the places I attended. I just, I was here. I had a lot, how people will say, oh, the guy spoke well, he spoke well, but they've not really taken anything into action. So I want you to go make people proud, make your business proud, make your employer proud by taking out this time you've invested. And the measure of a man's life is measured by the time you invest in several things. So for me, I would say go invest, activate the things you've planned, put to work, and then let's see results. And I look forward to networking with as many people as I can part-time. I can't keep many friends, but I keep very good friends. So I look forward to learning fashion, all of that, influencing, and going to meet people behind and like Nicodemus to know more about what they do. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Mrs. Temi Tokwe, final words.
Oh, great. It was great being here, actually. It was worth waking up very early for. So thank you to Business Day. Thank you to netplus.com. Yes, I'm still here. So I almost slept beyond the time, but yeah, I'll go back to bed once this is over. Okay, so I put a few notes. So thank you for inviting me. I was really, I found out about it at the last minute, but I'm happy that I was here, as I always am, to share my perspective as being a business owner. For other business owners, also people that want to, set up digital agencies or things like that, or people that are just like me that just stumbled upon this thing without a consistent plan. I just put some notes there so I don't ramble on. The first thing I'm going to say is with a strategy, whatever it is to try and be consistent, right? I know it's tough. I know it's difficult, but try. And if you feel, I can't be posting regularly, then try and schedule your posts. Why is there an echo? Then try and schedule your posts. I only recently started doing that. I realized because sometimes I'm so excited I can post like 20 things in a day. And then I realized that sometimes I'm like just, because like I said, I stopped working with my social media manager because she wants to now focus on a SaaS product. So what I now started doing was using Business Suite. So instead of excitedly just posting, I will go to Business Suite and then schedule that excitement for tomorrow and schedule the next excitement for the day. So that way it, gets scheduled and, more people are seeing it, even though I kind of took a break. Then if you find it difficult to be consistent, because being organic takes time. And trust me, it takes a lot of time to get sales because you have to, grow organically. Invest in ads, but just don't go and start doing Facebook ads just for the sake of it. They don't have to be expensive, because sometimes when I don't have time on social media, I still get some sales because I know my ads are running. But learn it from a very, very good person. The person I learned from is fantastic. I won't mention it here because obviously I'm not sure I'm allowed to, but he was fantastic. It cost, quite a bit, but it was worth it. And don't only rely on social media. Google is fantastic. Get a free website, use keywords, because there are different ways to skin a cat, as long as this cat is skinned, so don't just only focus on Instagram, and over time, know which one works. Instagram ads might be, Facebook ads work better for me than Instagram ads. Over time, I've come to realize what works for me. So those are the tips I'm going to give for someone who's just starting in and doesn't have like a lot of money to approach these amazing panelists. You can start on your own and then engage, more people as time goes on, and let the person you're working with be your partner. Don't just let the person understand what you are trying to achieve, and let the person, have that interest in your business as well, not just somebody that, you will forget. And yes, thank you so much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate, being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, you guys are amazing. I look up to each and every one of you. I learned a lot as a future business owner myself. I'm telling you, I'm going to be calling all of you one by one to ask for advice. Just saying, please pick my calls, do not ignore me, okay? Anyway, I really do appreciate you and the team, Business Day and NetPlus. We really, really do appreciate you. This was last minute. This was very rushed, but you came through for us. And I mean, I think it has to be one of the most exciting, most engaging sessions that we've had all year round. And this is not me capping, this is the truth. So I'm really, really thankful that you took the time out to be here with us. Very quickly, we have a video from NetPlus to play. Can we have that up now soon? Okay, guys, remember that the NetPlus menu is available for order on netplus.com.ng, or you can just, send us a mail or send us a DM, and then we can get your devices across to you. The device is very unique. It's a smartphone and a POS in one tiny, teeny box. So please check it out, and I'm sure you can use it to scale your business as well. Linda from Business Day wants to say something very quickly before we wrap this up.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I want to just thank you for making out time every month to join us in the clinic. Really appreciate your time. We spent a lot of time, so I won't talk for long. I want to thank the speakers. I want to also thank Next Plus for always joining us and making this happen. And we're also working on stuff for SMEs. So if you do want to advertise with us or subscribe, you can always send an email to linda@businessday.ng or sent@businessday.ng. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you and see you next month.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much again. I am so grateful, like I said earlier, that you took out the time to be here. And hopefully, if we call you again, you will come. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And I hope that the businesses here have learned quite a lot. We've already put a link for where you can watch this over again, and then we would send you the link across your emails later on once we're done. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Bye.
Have a
Nice to meet you.
Cheers.